story in a nutshell is it's set in rural Ireland, probably in County Kerry, and it follows the story of Jake and Charlie, and they are playing extras on a big Hollywood film set. So this big Hollywood juggernaut has come to this small Irish village, and we have the hilarious antics of the Irish locals rubbing up against the big Hollywood giants. I was very fortunate to see this play in Tralee in County Kerry in a little theatre called the Fiona Rogers. And I have an amazing mother-in-law called Fiona Rogers. She's very much an Irish mother-in-law. She's the sort of person that when you come in late night from the pub, she sneaks a hot water bottle into your bed just to make sure that you're warm. And she bought tickets to go and see Stones in His Pockets in this little theatre, and she was very worried, very scared that coming from London, as we were living at the time, the big smoke, that this little rural production perhaps wouldn't be, as enjoyable or as highbrow, I guess, she thought, as some of the productions that we get to see on a daily basis. So I went to see it in Ireland, and I fell in love with the play. I fell in love with the characters. Couldn't wait for the opportunity to direct it. So I'm very thankful to her for introducing me to this wonderful play. There is a little bit of Irish dancing involved, which has been a challenge. We have a fantastic choreographer called Nikki, who has managed to whip them into shape. It's been a reluctant journey, I think, from our cast members, but the results are fantastic, and hopefully everyone will be very impressed with the final results. It's a big ask, I think, for both of these actors. Playing all the different roles is a huge challenge, and there aren't any costume changes, so they have to be able to define each character, and the character needs to be familiar to the audience just by the voice they use or their physicality, the way that they use their bodies, and they're swapping and changing characters continuously all the way through it. And as for an actor, you would normally have a moment off stage. There's somebody else is on stage, the scene changes, and off you go. With these actors, they're on stage for the entire show. It is physically exhausting, but I think they are loving it, the challenge of that, and I think the audience will appreciate how talented they are in being able to get these characters across and how individual those characters are. We started rehearsing about 3 months ago. We were interrupted a little bit, unfortunately, by the events of COVID. So we were planning to do it last year, but because of the pandemic, it got knocked on the head. So we had to wait a little bit longer, and finally we're at rehearsals, and now we can perform it, which we're thrilled about. I would love the audiences to feel like they've been on an emotional roller coaster. You can't help but fall in love with Jake and Charlie, and how their friendship develops is just comedy magic. They play a variety of characters, so in all they play 13 different characters. So they take on the roles of like the Hollywood starlet, they take on film directors, they take on crazy old Mickey, who was the last surviving extra of The Quiet Man. And they have to play all of these characters, and the way that they physicalise these characters and change their accents to the greatest of comedy effect. I think people will be hopefully laughing. I think they will be moved. It's a clever, witty, thought-provoking story.